What's appearing in your energy right now is so unprecedented, so outside the normal patterns I observe that I actually had to pause and verify what I was picking up. Because in over 2 decades of doing this work, certain patterns repeat. People fall in love, people experience betrayal, people receive unexpected opportunities, people face challenges and overcome them. The human experience has themes that cycle through with variations but recognizable structure. But what's happening with you doesn't fit those patterns. This is anomaly. This is statistical outlier. This is the kind of situation that happens so rarely that most people will never experience it in their lifetime, and I've never seen it come through in a reading before now. And I need you to understand that rare doesn't automatically mean good or bad. It just means significant in ways that will permanently alter your trajectory. Let me describe what unprecedented actually looks like when it's happening to someone. It looks like circumstances aligning in ways that seem almost orchestrated, not one lucky break, multiple factors that had to converge at exact right moment for specific outcome to become possible. The odds of these things happening independently are low. The odds of them happening simultaneously are astronomically low. And yet, they're happening. You might not see the full picture yet. You might be experiencing pieces, a conversation here, an opportunity there, a coincidence that feels meaningful without recognizing that these pieces are parts of larger pattern that's forming. Or it looks like you being in position to experience something that your background, your circumstances, your previous life trajectory shouldn't have made accessible. Something that people with your resources or connections or history don't typically get access to. Something that feels like it belongs to someone else's life, not yours. And yet, here it is, presenting itself to you specifically for reasons you can't fully explain with logic or merit or preparation. Or it looks like rule breaking. Something that never happens is about to happen. Something everyone told you was impossible is becoming possible. Something you dismissed as fantasy because reality doesn't work that way is working that way for you anyway. The normal constraints that limit most people's experiences aren't applying to you right now. And that exception status isn't something you earned through following rules. It's something that's occurring despite rules, beyond rules, in ways that make rules seem less absolute than they appeared. Some people go through entire lives operating within predictable parameters. They experience variations within normal range. Good things and bad things and neutral things, all of which make sense within framework of how life typically unfolds. But occasionally, rarely, someone experiences something that breaks that framework entirely. That doesn't make sense. That shouldn't be happening, but is happening anyway. You're that someone right now. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider, what have you experienced recently that felt too coincidental, too perfectly timed, or too unlikely to be random? Maybe multiple people or opportunities appearing in your life simultaneously who all connect to same goal or desire you have. People who don't know each other, circumstances that aren't related, all pointing you in same direction. Or maybe doors opening that you didn't even knock on, invitations to things you didn't apply for, recognition for work you didn't promote, solutions appearing to problems you hadn't voiced. Or maybe escaping consequence you were certain was coming, situation that should have ended badly, somehow resolving in your favor. Disaster you were bracing for that never materialized or that transformed into opportunity instead. Or maybe experiencing depth of connection, romantic, platonic, creative, spiritual, that exceeds anything you felt before. Meeting someone who feels like they've always existed in your life, even though you just met them. Experiencing recognition or resonance that's so profound it seems impossible to be coincidence. This reflection invites you to consider if you've been dismissing unusual occurrences as random, what pattern might emerge if you looked at them as connected? There's something specific about what makes this truly unprecedented versus just unusual that needs clarifying because unusual things happen regularly. People win lotteries. People meet partners in unexpected ways. People get lucky breaks. Those things are uncommon, but they're within range of normal human experience. What's unprecedented is when multiple low probability events converge simultaneously in ways that create possibility that shouldn't exist. When the lottery winner also meets their perfect partner, also gets their dream job, also experiences profound healing, all in compressed time frame. When the accumulation of unlikely positive developments exceeds what probability would predict. Or what's unprecedented is the magnitude of what's occurring. Not just good fortune, but life changing fortune. Not just meeting someone compatible, but meeting someone who fundamentally alters your understanding of what relationship can be. Not just getting opportunity, but getting opportunity that leapfrogs you past years of traditional progression. The scale is what makes it unprecedented. The impact is what makes it remarkable. Or what's unprecedented is that this is happening to you specifically. Maybe you've been a person who experiences consistent difficulty. Maybe you've had string of bad luck or hard circumstances or closed doors. Maybe your life has been defined by struggle more than ease. And suddenly that entire pattern reverses. Suddenly you're experiencing the opposite of what you've come to expect. And the contrast between your historical experience and current experience is so stark that it feels surreal, impossible, like you've stepped into someone else's life. When long-term patterns break, especially when they break toward positive, it can be harder to accept than if you'd been experiencing good things consistently, because it contradicts your entire framework for understanding how life works for you. But patterns can break. Statistical outliers exist, and you're experiencing that break right now. This reflection invites you to consider what would shift in your life if your historical pattern of how things go for you completely reversed. Let me address what you might be feeling as you read this and recognize that, yes, something unusual is happening, even if you haven't fully named it yet. There's probably disbelief, that healthy skepticism that protects you from being disappointed when good things turn out to be illusions or temporary or not as good as they seemed. and that skepticism is wise. You should be evaluating whether what appears to be happening is actually what's happening, whether the opportunity is real or mirage, whether the connection is genuine or infatuation, whether the good fortune is sustainable or about to evaporate. But skepticism shouldn't prevent you from acting when action is required. You can be cautiously optimistic. You can verify while also moving forward. You can protect yourself while also remaining open to possibility. The mistake is letting disbelief keep you frozen when unprecedented opportunity requires unprecedented response. There might also be fear that superstitious worry that acknowledging good thing will somehow jinx it, that talking about it will make it disappear, that celebrating too early will invite catastrophe as cosmic correction. But that's magical thinking. Good things don't evaporate because you acknowledge them. Disasters don't manifest because you felt joy. The universe doesn't punish happiness with suffering to maintain balance. You're allowed to recognize when something extraordinary is happening without fear. That recognition will destroy it. There might also be confusion, legitimate bewilderment about why this is happening. What did you do to deserve this? Why now? Why you? And when you can't answer those questions satisfactorily, you might struggle to accept the experience because you can't explain it. But not everything requires explanation before you can receive it. Sometimes good things just happen not because you earned them through suffering or merit, not because universe owes you, not because of cosmic debt being repaid. Just because timing and circumstance and readiness aligned in moment and created opening, you don't need to understand the mechanism to experience the result. This reflection invites you to consider, what would it take for you to trust that something unprecedented can happen to you specifically? There's something about what you need to do with this unprecedented situation that matters immensely because rare opportunities require different handling than common ones. First, you need to recognize what's actually happening instead of dismissing it as normal or minimizing it as minor. If this is truly unprecedented, treat it as such. Don't normalize it in attempt to make it feel less overwhelming. Don't shrink it to size you're more comfortable with. Let it be as big as it actually is. Second, you need to act with appropriate urgency. Unprecedented opportunities often come with compressed timelines. They're not going to wait for you to feel completely ready or to have perfect plan. They're going to require you to move faster than you're comfortable with, decide with less information than you'd prefer, commit before you feel completely certain. If you wait for ideal conditions, the window will close. Third, you need to communicate what's happening to people who can support you through it. Not everyone, you don't need to broadcast this, but trusted few who can help you stay grounded, reality check when necessary, celebrate with you, and provide perspective when intensity becomes overwhelming. Unprecedented experiences can feel isolating because most people won't understand what you're going through. Having even one or two people who you can share with prevents that isolation from becoming destabilizing. Fourth, you need to prepare for change. If this is truly unprecedented, it's going to alter your life in ways you can't fully predict. Relationships might shift. Priorities might reorganize. Your daily reality might look completely different 6 months from now. And that change, even when it's positive change, will require adjustment, will require releasing old patterns and identities, will require building new capacity to handle new reality. Fifth, you need to manage expectations, your own and others. Something unprecedented happening doesn't mean everything becomes perfect forever. It means one extraordinary thing occurring that will have ripple effects. But you'll still be human, you'll still have problems, you'll still experience difficulties, just not the same difficulties you were experiencing before. This reflection invites you to consider, what would you need to release or prepare to handle if your entire life changed dramatically in positive direction? Let me be specific about what this unprecedented situation might actually be, because vague something amazing isn't useful when you're trying to identify what's happening in your actual life. For some of you, this is relational. You're about to meet or have just met someone who represents partnership at level you didn't know existed. Not just compatibility transformation, not just love evolution. This person is catalyst for you becoming version of yourself you couldn't access alone. And they're experiencing same thing in reverse. Your mirrors, accelerants, perfect conditions for each other's growth in ways that are rare enough that most people never experience it. For others, this is professional. You're being positioned for opportunity that would typically take decades to reach. Accelerated promotion, investment in your project, recognition that catapults you past normal progression, not because you cheated system, but because right circumstances converged to create exception to normal timeline. Or your work is about to reach people it was meant to reach in ways that create exponential rather than linear growth. For others, this is creative. You're downloading or creating something that's going to have impact beyond anything you've made before. Art, writing, music, invention, idea, something that's not just good, but extraordinary in ways that will be recognized widely. You might not see that yet. You might just be in process of making it, but what you're creating is bigger than you realize. For others, this is financial. Money is coming, or opportunity for generating money is presenting itself in amounts that exceed your current baseline significantly, not gradual increase leap, not comfortable improvement, transformation. This could be through unexpected channels, unlikely sources, or opportunities that don't match your background, but somehow you're being given access anyway. For others, this is healing. You're about to experience, or are currently experiencing, resolution to issue that's plagued you for years. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, something that medical establishment or therapy or time alone hasn't fixed is suddenly resolving through unlikely channel or unprecedented approach. This reflection invites you to consider which category resonates most strongly: relational, professional, creative, financial, or healing. Let me address the elephant in the room, which is, what if this unprecedented thing turns out to be difficult instead of wonderful? Because unprecedented doesn't automatically mean positive, it just means outside normal range. And sometimes Extraordinary challenge is what breaks patterns and forces growth that couldn't happen through ordinary circumstances. If what's unprecedented is difficulty, the same principles apply. Recognize it, act appropriately, get support, prepare for change, manage expectations. But here's what I'm actually seeing in your energy. This is positive. This is opportunity. This is opening, not closing. This is expansion, not contraction. I wouldn't frame it as never in 23 years if what was coming was just another version of hardship. The unprecedented nature of what's happening is specifically about possibility that exceeds normal parameters. You remain in complete control of how you respond